Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I don't have long to make this video because the court is currently in recess. I have been in the courtroom in regards to TFL, Dokwon, the criminal case, and him being sentenced. And honestly, it's for me, it's emotionally overwhelming. Been on this journey for nearly 4 years, and something that I always hid from a lot of people was the loss of my friend, the reason why I'm here, the reason why I exist to begin with, why I started doing what I'm doing, and everything like that. I didn't just join the courtroom because I wanted to speak about these funds that weren't burned, the non-compliance. I also wanted to speak for my friend Ben. I wanted to ensure that his voice was heard in some way, shape, or form, and that goes for many of the victims that simply aren't going to be there to speak. I think there's a lot of issues with this court case, to be quite honest, and I really don't believe that he should be sentenced today. There's far too much data and evidence that's available, and the only person that benefits from him being sentenced right now is Dokwon, and for him it ends. For everybody else, it goes on, especially for us here in the Terra Classic community and for those in the Terra Luna community. So I think it's quite funny because all of this is public information. I said that I was going to follow this process. I was going to submit a presentation. I was going to get all of the data together. And that's exactly what I did. Now, if you've looked at some of the transcripts, you'll know there was 400 and I think 400 plus victims that had written in, and only a select few of us were picked, right, handpicked to actually speak, to give a victim impact statement. And the transcripts that are available are short and like crazy. I spoke for around 10 minutes. I actually had a timer on my phone, so I knew exactly how long I was going for if I was rabbiting on too much. I know time is of the essence in these cases. Now, I'm going to pretty much go through exactly what I went through with you guys. You need to understand I was handpicked because all of the data that I did provide, they clearly saw that it was vital for the sentencing of DK in the criminal case, considering a lot of the stuff with the civil case isn't even tied up. Not just these assets, right, that haven't been burned, but DK also never paid his fines, it seems, that I've figured out now being in the courtroom. So I'm going to start with the personal statement that I really led with to begin with. And I said that my loss was not financial, it was personal. And I lost a dear friend, and no compensation is enough for my friend's life. No sentence seems enough. The damage that Dokwon did will not end here. It does not finish at this criminal case with his sentencing. It only ends for him. For everybody else, it lives on. He created a divide that still exists now, two blockchains, Luna Classic and Terra Luna. We all still have to push on to fix what he broke. And then I went into the presentation, which, as you've probably heard from the transcripts, yes, the judge went over a lot of these, and they had tons and tons of letters that came in within a matter of days of that notice going out. So I explained to them what you can imagine, that I become this core part of the community. I was really someone that went the other way. You know, we've always been here for the community, and I wanted to let them know that I wasn't just some random dude off the street that had lost a friend, that I actually was part of this restoration process. Now, going forward, I explained the purpose of my statement was to summarize my independent research, which is associated with the disposition of Terraform's owned assets, and the purpose is to provide information that I believe is relevant to the ongoing criminal proceedings and sentencing considerations. So like I said, I was talking for a fair bit of time. I went over this. I then pushed forward onto the final judgment. I then went into explaining that there's 5.90% of the total USTC supply that belongs to TFL still remaining, and that these reside in 8 wallets. I further explained that there's more wallets out there that belong to TFL that are on CEXs, so you've got on-chain wallets and off-chain wallets, and I explained just here that the value of that USTC is also $3.77 million. Now, it's at this point that he states to me, you've got 2 minutes left, and honestly, at that point, I felt like I was irritating the guy, or maybe I'd spoken too much, or maybe I just got the point across that they hadn't abided by the final judgment, and that was enough for him. You know, maybe he didn't want me to talk any more than that to confuse the points that I'd already put forward. So I don't know how this court process works in the mind of a judge and, you know, the psychology behind all of this. But me joining that court wasn't just about Terra Classic. It was about my personal loss. And I see a lot of people on X like ripping into all of the victims that gave statements and laughing at them because they have losses. And I think how disgusting that we have people like that in the Terra Classic community that are being supported. It's crazy. Like, My friend killed himself. He threw himself out of a apartment complex and he hit the ground and he, there's nothing left. There's nothing left. My friend's not coming back. And there's people out there laughing about it. You know what I mean? Grow up. So like I said, this whole presentation was sent and I go on to show them that I've identified a lot of these assets that remain on CEXs. Again, you guys need to understand, and all of the people that are reading those shortened transcripts, that this presentation was likely looked at by the defense, by the prosecution, by the judge, and by the people handling all of the victim impact stuff. So in this part of the presentation, I actually put in clips where Chris Armani speaks about the redactions in Trial Exhibit P301. I explain that they were uncertain on who has access to these keys, and I explained to the judge that we simply do not know who could come back and reactivate these funds. So I think I got my point across, and again, this presentation's available for the prosecution, defense, the judge, anyone to use and utilize, and all of the appendices have been added in with it, so absolutely all of the data is readily available for them in a Google Drive. So I believe I've done absolutely everything to the utmost extent that I could do to get my point across. Something that is quite funny at the moment, which I can kind of laugh about with this whole thing, is this doesn't stop here. Yes, the point has been got across in the court. The statement regarding the compliance with the final judgment in regards to the Terraform Labs civil case, yes, was submitted to Judge A. Inglemeyer. It has been looked at. What we now need to understand is I've submitted this all for a program with the SEC, and any of these illicit funds that will remain and they do not get burned throughout this process of sentencing, right, will be burned through that program that we've sent all of the data into. So we've gone through many different routes to ensure that the voice of our community is being heard. And I feel like I did a good thing here today. I don't feel like I did a bad thing. For me, it was very emotional. It was actually very hard for me to talk. You guys probably can't imagine that, with me speaking every day in videos and rambling nonsense and, having a crack with you guys. But yeah, it was very emotional for me. I was struggling to talk at times. It's not easy losing a friend through something like this, where I've been here for almost 4 years and I've had to just keep that quiet because I don't want the sympathy vote. I really don't. But something going forward that I'm going to be doing is rebranding. I'm moving away from this HCC crap. It's done. I'm done with being a picture of a cat. I'm done with being this HappyCattyCrypto guy or the cat man or whatever. Today I own my name. Today I bring respect to my friend Ben, and I bring respect to this community, and we push forward together. But guys, I've got to go. The court is going to be resuming very soon, and I'll update you with absolutely everything I can. Anybody who's live streaming the court or anything like that is doing it in an illegal capacity. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to record it or nothing, but I can talk about it afterwards. So I'll be sure to update you guys. I've got a lot of data to go through in regards to all of the wallets that are responsible for the hyperminting. I now have all of their transaction logs for all of their assets that they sent to Binance for all time. So I'm talking about a significant amount of assets, and just for example, throwing it here at the end, what I've got to really go through with you guys. This is the wallet data that belongs to the hyperminters, and it's specific to what they sent to Binance. And when I say this is uniform, it's uniform. Transactions do not work like this, you guys. So this is all specific to the time of the hyperminting, which lasts for a matter of days, right? So very uniform. As you can see, I've color-coded some of these wallets, all the same wallet. This is all the same wallet, sending tons and tons, and I mean billions. You're talking billions overall from one wallet. Then it shifts to another wallet. This is not normal. What is more regular for us to see with a situation like this is something like this, a little bit more randomized, right? Where it's just a random sputter of wallets that have not even been really showing up anywhere in this list before. This is non-uniform from my perspective, but when you look at the hyperminting sessions and the funds that were going out, yes, it's uniform. Yes, this should have clearly been picked up by Binance, by KuCoin, by everybody when they froze the trading. This is the kind of stuff, right, that his plea of guilty is going to get him off the hook. And there's going to be all sorts of legal draw-ups that will prevent anyone, right, from bringing any of this up in the future and him being charged for it. I hope he gets a life sentence. That's not even enough, in my opinion. He needs 2-3 life sentences to ensure that he never gets out and never gets deported back to his home country, because he'll be walking free. He can bribe the government there and he'll be off. But look, guys, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware. I'll be going over all of this data soon. It's very, very conclusive. And I'll catch you in the next one.